which is exactly why the fifth habit can undo all four practices when pressure hits. If every problem keeps coming back to you, your team may not lack ownership, you may be training dependence. Here are 5 habits causing it and exactly what to do instead. Now, if we haven't met, I'm Andrea Baillo, and through Rooted for Success, I help leaders put leadership into practice. And this pattern may already be showing up in your team. It happens in really small moments. Pressure rises, so you give the answer, you fix the work, you make the decision, you step back in. And each response feels helpful, but repeated often enough, it teaches your team one lesson. Wait for me. Then people bring you problems without recommendations. Work slows down when you're not available. Decisions you delegated return for just one more approval. Now you feel overloaded, indispensable, and frustrated that nobody will step up. And this is not about blaming yourself for every performance problem. Capability and commitment are still important. But leadership means examining the part of the system you control. What have your responses trained people to do? Ownership is not something you demand in a meeting. Your operating environment either supports it or punishes it. And the first habit is so common, it can even look like good leadership. Habit number 1, answering before they think. Someone says, "We have a problem. What should I do?" And you know the answer, and given it takes 30 seconds, so you do. And the work moves forward. But a hidden transaction just took place. They brought the problem, you did the thinking. Do that often enough and you become the team's thinking system. Instead, ask for a recommendation before you give an answer. For example, what do you recommend? What options have you considered? If I were unavailable, what would you do? This is not a trick. If they lack context, provide it. But do not confuse providing context with taking the thinking back. And if letting them think feels too slow, watch for the second habit, because speed is often how leaders justify taking ownership away. So number 2, rescuing at the first sign of struggle. You rewrite the deck, take over the client call, finish the analysis, and step into conflict for them. Sometimes intervention is necessary, but if struggle automatically triggers takeover, people learn that difficulty is the moment ownership returns to you. Every rescue teaches a return trip. So separate support from takeover. Ask what support would help you finish this. They may need a sounding board, a resource, clear priorities, or help removing a barrier. Give the support, but leave the outcome with the owner when the risk allows it. Productive struggle is not abandonment, it's where judgment gets built. But support alone is not enough. A person cannot own a decision if your delegation disappears the moment the stakes rise. This leads to the third habit, taking delegated decisions back. You tell someone this is yours, then the stakes rise. So you add another approval or override their call or change the criteria after the work has been done. The team learns that delegation is temporary. They may do the preparation, but real authority still belongs to you. So before delegating, define the lane. What outcome do they own? Which constraints are fixed? What can they decide without approval? When should they inform you, consult you, or escalate? For example, you might say, you own the final decision with this document within this budget. Inform me when you decide. Escalate only if the delivery date moves by more than a week. Ambiguity creates hesitation. Clear decision rights create movement. If every road leads back to you, you do not have an ownership system. You have a permission system. And even with clear authority, people will sometimes get the outcome wrong. What you do next determines whether they build judgment or stop using it. So habit 4 is correcting the outcome without teaching judgment. You mark up the deliverable, tell them what's wrong. Maybe you fix it quietly yourself, but you never make the standard or reasoning visible. The person learns that quality is whatever you change it to. Do not only score the outcome, coach the judgment. Ask them, what did you notice? Which assumption drove your choice? What trade-off were you making? What would you repeat or change next time? Your goal is not one correct deliverable. It is a person who can make a stronger decision next time without you. And that takes time, which is exactly why the fifth habit can undo all four practices when pressure hits. And that habit is making urgency the default. When everything is urgent, the fastest route to relief is going to be you, the leader. Decisions collapse upward. People stop experimenting and start seeking cover. Your team learns that ownership exists only while things are calm. Urgency trains dependence. Now, that doesn't mean the answer is to move slowly. It means it's to decide the critical moves before the pressure arrives. Establish escalation triggers, risk limits, and decision rights in advance. Say, you own this unless the budget changes by this amount, the timeline moves by this much, or a customer risk reaches this level. When the boundaries are clear before the crisis, urgency no longer has to erase ownership. Now, all 5 habits point to 3 conditions ownership needs: clarity, authority, recovery. Clarity means people understand the outcome, priorities, constraints, and standards. Authority means they know what they can decide without permission. And room to recover means they can make a reasonable mistake, learn, and try again without permanently losing ownership. This is the middle path between command and control and hands-off delegation. Ownership does not mean you're on your own, buddy, right? It means you're responsible and I will support you without automatically taking the responsibility back. Now imagine a direct report brings a delayed project to your one-on-one. A dependence building response sounds like, send me the plan, I will fix it, and talk to the stakeholder. The project may get temporary relief, but ownership has moved back to you. Now, an ownership building response looks like, walk me through what changed. What outcome are you still responsible for? Bring me 2 recovery options and your recommendation. You can make the final call within the agreed budget. Escalate only if the delivery date moves by more than 1 week. That response is not passive. It supplies context and guardrails while leaving the thinking and decision making with the person responsible. All right, so the next time someone brings you a problem, pause and ask, what do you recommend? Then notice your own discomfort. Do you want to speed it up, correct it, take it back? That reaction shows you where your leadership habit lives. So if you want to go deeper, this is what we're working on inside the leadership practice. We examine situations that keep returning to us and choose one leadership response to practice. The value is not more information, it's honest examination, practice with other leaders, and accountability for doing something differently. If that would help you, you can apply using the link below. Otherwise, go ahead and subscribe and follow me for more videos.